that was at a very interesting time. Obviously, during COVID, infection prevention started getting a spotlight as deservedly because we were working around the clock, trying to keep hospitals open and operational, and also ensuring everyone's safety, both staff and healthcare workers. And so it was a very interesting time. Unfortunately, our director retired around those times, so there was a huge vacuum for leadership at a time when we really needed infection prevention leadership. I had no leadership background at the time, and I had been a team lead in my clinical role, but I haven't really managed people. And at, at the time, I don't know if the organization was ready to take that chance because it was big, a big responsibility. And I don't know that if I was even ready then, even though I was doing a lot of the things that a director would do, but I was also very hesitant about taking on the additional responsibility of leading teams. And so the organization, as we started looking at the deficits in the department when it comes to both human resources as well as other resources, we realized that the staffing matrix did not meet the needs of the organization at that time. And so we started this expansion program. And part of that was creating some type of a role that would help support and develop the training program for these new IPs that we need. But at the time, during 2020, 2021, there were no experienced IPs that were willing to relocate or change their jobs. It was just infection prevention in general saw what would be maybe an attrition, or because a lot of the experienced IPs that have been doing it for years, just like my director at the time, were retirement age. And so the pandemic just forced them to retire or just brought that to the forefront. People started looking at what their priorities are. And for a lot of people at the time, it was spending more time with the family. So we did not have a lot of experienced IPs wanting to take those roles. And so we had to hire fresh MPH graduates and train them. And that required a lot of work, planning, and developing a training program from the ground up was a lot of undertaking. And so part of my promotion was to lead those efforts. And so I became a senior infection preventionist, took on that role. In addition to training and onboarding the new IPs that we were hiring as we grew the program, we also had a COVID exposure team that was fully focused on contact tracing and making sure that healthcare workers cleared and brought back to work as quickly as possible, making sure that our patients are kept safe. We had a big contact tracing program. And so I was kind of leading that program at that time. And we had to build that program from the ground up, including all of that infrastructure that went with it. And so it was a leadership role, but I did not have anyone reporting me through me. I was managing programs. So I managed the inpatient program and the COVID exposure program.